Les familles monoparentales ne seront plus victimes d'une double peine, c'est-à-dire élever seuls leurs enfants et subir des pensions impayées pour près de la moitié d'entre elles. Avec le nouveau service de paiement des pensions alimentaires lancé en 2021, les impayés auront disparu. Et les mères isolées se verront toujours verser la pension alimentaire qui leur est due, échappant à une menace auparavant perpétuelle planant sur la vie quotidienne de leurs enfants.
Apparently, in France, it is illegal to get a paternity test outside of a court-sanctioned one because France is so worried about the repercussions to the family structure if you get a paternity test. They think so many people are f***ing around on each other that it would ruin the institution of marriage. So, which brings me to my question of the day. In the United States, ethically, do you think paternity tests should be mandatory? And if they aren't, should paternity fraud be against the law?
In the world of modern technology, DNA testing holds the power to reveal secrets, expose criminals, and unlock truths. But a paradox emerges when we consider the divergent ways DNA testing is applied in different scenarios. One thing is certain in these situations: men end up paying the price, justified and unjustified. This is the paradox of DNA testing. The opening video clip features a part of a presentation by Emmanuel Macron, the current president of France, highlighting that half of single-parent households are not receiving the appropriate level of child support. Of course, we are shown an image of a woman because women are running the majority of single-parent households. In 2021, France launched a government service that will take child support payments directly out of parents' bank accounts if they don't pay them. Under the new system, any mother or father can request the new government service, regardless of whether the other parent disagrees. Once in place, the service handles the payment of the money until the child is 18. What if the other parent has valid reasons to object? What if the other parent has substantial evidence to support his objections? In France, there's an anti-paternity testing law that imposes penalties on men who use paternity tests to determine their biological relationship to a child. Ironically, in France, DNA testing is also used to solve criminal cases. Herein lies the complexity of the paradox. Let's chant. Now it's time for us to get into this and do what we gotta do. Because we men, ain't we? We men, ain't we?
Si vous avez cours, vous rentrez.
On y va.
Arriving for class in La Rochelle as an unprecedented police operation gets underway. All 475 male students and 31 male teachers at this private Catholic high school are being asked to give a DNA sample. The school's director says it's the last chance to find out who raped a 16-year-old girl in a dark school toilet here last September.
I don't know why this took so long, but it's not right. The person who did it may have been at the school for the last 7 months. It's horrible.
Police say genetic material recovered from the girl's clothing did not match any profiles in the national DNA database. 21 males who were at the school on the day of the attack have been asked for a saliva sample, as well as teachers and pupils. The local prosecutor says people refusing to take part will become, quote, potential suspects who could be taken into custody. That's angered some in the legal system, but pupils here welcomed the testing.
Everyone's taking part without any problems because we feel solidarity with the girl who was raped, and we all want to find the perpetrator.
In criminal investigations, DNA testing has become an indispensable tool. It has helped solve countless cases, bringing perpetrators to justice, but also cleared suspects from wrongful accusations, thereby safeguarding the principles of fairness and accuracy in the legal system. From what you've just seen in the clip, men are easily willing to collaborate with the authorities in order to identify the perpetrator. There are a few reasons behind this willingness. First off, because of how awful the incident is. Then there is that burning need for justice. And let's not forget, they've got nothing to hide. It's guilty until proven innocent. However, it's this part of this clip that I want you guys to keep in mind.
The local prosecutor says people refusing to take part will become, quote, potential suspects who could be taken into custody.
Doesn't that sound logical? If a man declines to cooperate with a procedure, like DNA testing in this instance, which can accurately identify matches, he automatically becomes a suspect. This idea is something most people would probably agree with. Like I always say, focus on the information that's consistent. 1. DNA testing is highly accurate. Number 2. DNA testing results can either convict suspects or exonerate them from false accusations. Number 3. Opting out of DNA testing puts you under the radar as a potential suspect.
Next, fill out the sample envelopes. Then, to collect a DNA sample, just rub the swab inside your cheek for about 15 to 20 seconds. Finally, put the paperwork and samples into the postage-paid envelope and then drop it in any mailbox. That's it.
However, the paradox becomes evident when we shift our focus to paternity testing in France. In a contradictory move, while DNA is employed to catch criminals, it's illegal to use DNA testing to establish biological parentage in some contexts. Let's read. This is from the French site called Le Guichet du Savoir, which means the knowledge desk.
On the issue of genetic testing, the bioethics law lays down major principles regarding the carrying out of examinations of people's genetic characteristics. Genetic examination can only be carried out for medical, legal or scientific research purposes, and only in authorized laboratories. Outside this framework, obtaining a DNA test remains illegal in France and punishable by a fine of €3,700. The Criminal Code also provides for a 1-year prison sentence or a fine of €15,000 for seeking the identification of a person by their genetic fingerprints outside the cases provided for by law.
The whole ban on paternity testing has brought about some really gut-wrenching situations. Imagine this. Guys who aren't actually the biological fathers are still on the hook to pay up for kids who aren't even theirs. It's seriously messed up and can mess with their emotions and wallets big time. Let's read.
French officials believe that home paternity test kits contribute to the promotion of family disagreements and arguments which may lead to family breakups. Hence the reason why home genetic tests are deemed illegal.
You think? Of course this is going to contribute to family disagreements and arguments, especially when 1/3 is not the biological father, and this is without mandatory DNA testing. So the facts stay the same, but in this situation, they're going against each other, and that's where the story takes a turn.
Gabriel Cornejo came to Harris County Family Court hoping he wouldn't have to leave common sense at the door.
I've never thought that in my life I would have to defend myself for something that I'm innocent of.
Cornejo is a father. He's raising his 3 kids and 2 of his brother's children. But last year tells us a deputy showed up at his door with court papers claiming the state of Texas thinks he has another child.
She turned out to be 15, 16 years old at the time, I think.
Cornejo claims he never knew and pretty much immediately set out to meet his then 16-year-old daughter for what he says was the first time.
She's a wonderful girl. Very smart. Just a lot going on for herself.
He, his wife, and the ex-girlfriend he broke up with 16 years ago all agreed he should get a DNA test, and he did.
Well, the results came in and I'm not the father.
But that's not the end of the case, not even close. Cornejo's ex still wants the money, and so does the state of Texas.
So why the contradiction? On one hand, DNA testing is embraced for its role in delivering justice. On the other, privacy concerns and the potential disruption of family dynamics have led to the banning of DNA testing in paternity cases in France. Like I always say, follow the money. This whole presentation of Macron is catered to women. It has an feminist narrative.
La culture de l'égalité sera présente dès le plus jeune âge pour lutter contre les inégalités à la racine, les représentations, ce qui s'ancre dans les cerveaux et crée ensuite les autocensures. La charte des jouets que nous avons lancée en 2021 aura été reconduite chaque année, ce qui nous aura permis de tourner la page des rayons filles ou garçons dans les magasins de jouets ou dans les librairies. Fini les aspirateurs offerts aux futures petites ménagères et les boîtes à outils uniquement destinées aux petits garçons. L'égalité sera définitivement ancrée dans notre culture, sans assignation de rôle dès l'enfance. La promotion de l'égalité et du respect, initiée dans les écoles avec la mise en place de référents égalité, continuera de se déployer et ouvrira l'horizon de possibles aux petites filles comme aux petits garçons. À l'école primaire, au collège, au lycée, de plus en plus de filles voudront être ingénieures, entrepreneuses, chirurgiennes, directrices de chantier ou encore présidentes de la République. Et de jeunes garçons voudront devenir infirmiers, aides à domicile ou puériculteurs.
Politics and economics go hand in hand. Our video, Paternity Fraud is Organized Crime, reveals the truth about why these laws are not being changed.
However, the Tennessee Department of Human Services says if made into law, their department could be at risk of losing about $52 million in federally matched dollars.
I guess the concerns that we have is that the bill would possibly put us out of compliance with the federal regulations.
After speaking with attorneys from the U.S. Department of Human Services, Representative Parkinson says the bill would not affect the money the state receives.
Somebody has to pay for these children, and they know it's gonna hit their wallets. That's why they need workhorses. They need slaves. And it doesn't matter if it's the biological father or not. Welcome to the expendables. Remember this?
The local prosecutor says people refusing to take part will become, quote, potential suspects who could be taken into custody.
The reason why women are getting so much flack from men in this space is because in these situations, women are actually quiet when it comes to that equality foolishness. This makes them suspect, and the final judgment has been made many years ago.
You guilty.
Guilty. Women are the perfect accomplices who perpetuate this injustice.
Cornejo's ex still wants the money, and so does the state of Texas.
They're not just unfairly draining men's wallets, but research also confirms they're heavily involved in infidelity. And they don't seem to hesitate when it comes to deceiving their own children and families. The foolishness. That's why these laws are not going to change anytime soon. The people in control benefit from the status quo. The message of this channel is for men to protect themselves at all times. This starts with awareness. Thank you guys for sharing these videos. I personally learned from many guys in this space. Shout out to the manosphere. Keep spreading the truth. That's the foundation of the red pill, not that immoral foolishness. If you support that immoral foolishness, you also support this foolishness that's going on with the laws. If you are aware of what's going on, you can make informed choices and understand the consequences of your actions. Fellas, women cannot force us to commit to them. It takes two to tango. She can't get pregnant by herself. She can't marry herself, even though I predict a lot of self-marriages in the future. But let her take half of her own shit. Whichever path you decide to walk in life, remember that there will always be trade-offs. Make sure that the choices you make are truly worth these trade-offs. We many, we. Shit. Man, that's where we working. Protect yourself at all times. This video has officially been highlighted.